It has been nearly a decade since its release, and people are still talking about the good and the bad of Batman Arkham Knight. Most of it being like, oh, I don't know, most of the boss fights being kind of mid compared to like Origins and City. Or you can go as far as the Batmobile missions being boss fights to say like Deathstroke and the Arkham Knight. These are the ones that I don't like. But most of these that I'm talking about are like how the people do not like the Batmobile sections or the Batmobile in general or how much it's used in the game. Well, today I'm here to defend like some of that controversy. I'm not gonna like fully defend it because like I said, I don't know why they made Deathstroke's boss fight a tank, and I don't know why they made the Arkham Knights a tank. But I'm here to serenade some of that hate that some of the fan base is giving it over these last 10 years. What's going on YouTube? It's your boy Ritual C-Man 5. I'm sorry if some of this video is scripted and some of this is just off the top of my head. So I'm sorry if I either pause or if I don't know what to say. I'm just thinking off the top of my head here or reading from a paper because I wrote all this down, but I'm making this too long. But like I said in the video, y'all already seen the thumbnail, so I'm gonna just say this: leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'm gonna catch y'all in the next one. Peace. But on to the video. Alright, so point number one, and I think it's the most obvious one, guys, Batman is older. Not like older to like, let's say like Batman Beyond when he was like, you know, he couldn't like do Batman anymore, but he's older because like this is often said like throughout the game, like Jason always refused him as like old man, and like other people they recall him as older, and like he often gives hints to like how old he is. Like that's like the obvious point number one. I'm not saying that like in this time period that Batman still couldn't handle his own, because this is arguably Batman's prime as to like he knows everything like fighting techniques and etc. I'm sorry if I stutter, by the way, like this is off the top of my head. But back to the main topic. Yeah, he's older. Like we can't hold him back for like trying to upgrade his artillery and trying to try new things and trying to try new methods of winning, because it's Batman. At the end of the day, he's gonna try to find every possible route to win. Reasoning number two: to turn Gotham into a battlefield. In previous games like Night and Asylum, oh my god, I said Night, like Asylum, City, and Origins, you were limited. Not limited to like you couldn't do anything, but like limited as to like walking and gliding. Like in Arkham Knight, the Gotham is like, it's way bigger, like the islands and streets and like everything is bigger, like on a very, very bigger, like massive scale. But without the Batmobile, that city would feel empty. But kinda, I don't know. Like I wouldn't say completely empty, because obviously like the thugs and stuff are still inhabiting Gotham, but it was like empty to like evacuation wise and etc. But with that being said, the Batmobile in the city turns it into a complete war zone. But it do make sense narratively, because you know they got stuff like checkpoints and roadblocks and drones, all like unmanned, but it's still the point. Like Batman couldn't defeat those on foot, bro. And I doubt, like as soon as he saw like what he was going up against, he immediately knew that he's gonna like have to even the odds. If you get that reference, you're a peak person. And that brings me to my next point, bro. The Batmobile was matched by the Arkham Knight's military power. Alright, now let's talk about the enemy for instance right quick, aka Jason Todd, Scarecrow, you know, the whole 9 yards, bro. The Arkham Knight isn't just like another villain, he's a tactical, like military strategic person. Holy crap, that's a tongue twister. Arkham Knight deploys like unmanned tanks, squads, watchtowers, underground militia bases, and Batman is like in general facing a paramilitary occupation, if you will. If he doesn't have a Batmobile, he would have been outmatched, because like if we keep it in the buck, he is Batman, but at the end of the day, like even Batman has his limits, bro. And with the Batmobile now at his hands, he always has like a 360 turn, a missile barrages, EMP blast, non-lethal cannons, you know, stuff that evens the odds, bro. AKA the stuff that gave him a fighting chance and ultimately defeating the Arkham Knight and giving Gotham a chance to survive. Then you can take this with a grain of salt or however you want to take it, but it did help other things outside of winning the war. Like it helped solve the Riddler puzzles, or it helped like power the generators that Batman couldn't get to. It remote hacked systems. It did boost like the whole 9 yards, bro. Like it was more than just a car. Like it helped Batman throughout with everything. And this brings me to my third point. It was basically like a psychological warfare, not just physically. I want y'all to imagine this, bro. Imagine if you're like a militia soldier and you just hear that beast roaring down the road. Wouldn't you get scared? Like wouldn't you feel like unmatched? It made Batman feel like unstoppable, and it made him give the city a fighting chance. Plus Batman uses fear. Fear has always been his greatest weapon. And this version of Batman amplifies that fear to the criminals, that they know that Gotham is still protected by the one being of the night. Alright, so point number 4 is I feel like it allowed like Gotham to be fully evacuated, because if Bruce would have kept like stuff on foot, then A, more people would have gotten hurt in the crossfire, or B, like more people would have gotten infected when he detonated the cloudburst thing. And it just made stuff more safer. Why? Because it allowed the Batmobile to unleash heavy weaponry. Oh my God, what a tongue twister. It allowed the Batmobile to unleash its full power. So no random chaos, no people getting killed, or no civilians in the way. All right, now I'm finna talk about the main villain here, all right? Scarecrow. Scarecrow had fear toxin and mobility. All right, so Scarecrow, first off, he flooded the city with pure fear toxin. The streets are dangerous, visibility is compromised, and psychological pressure is constant. The Batmobile becomes a safe zone. It protects Batman from environmental hazards. It gives him speed when the city becomes, unstable, and it gives him distance when hallucination intensifies. And to sum it up, mobility equals survival. Without it, navigating in a toxin filled Gotham at that, it would have been nearly impossible. He probably would have either died, or he probably would just become pure insanity. The amount of stuff that was underground, including the Arkham Knight's HQ and so much other stuff, that it had, Batman had to use the Batmobile to get around. So yeah, there's that point. I keep hesitating and stuttering because I don't want to talk about Scarecrow too much, because that's for another video. But on to the next point. All right, so on to number 0.6 or 7. Holy crap, oh my God, please don't clip me, please don't put this in the comments. I did not mean to. All right, point to number 6 or 7, I forgot which point I'm on, but it's a symbolize of Batman. I'm pretty sure y'all can all agree with me on this one. Think about Batman for a second. Imagine if he didn't use batarangs, or a grappling hook, or if his parents didn't die, if he became Batman through another thing. It's his symbol. The Batmobile is a symbol that represents Batman. He adapts, he prepares, and he evolves. All the things that the Batmobile, represents. In Arkham Asylum, he was contained. In Arkham City, he was outnumbered. And in Arkham Knight, he's facing the army. All this adversity, and he still manages to come out on top. It just symbolizes how good Batman is and how good he can adapt to dangerous situations. And at the end of the day, it's like a core theme of Arkham Knight. In all the other past games, we didn't have the Batmobile. We were just on foot and on the rooftops all game. So I think it just added another layer of not only gameplay, but the adversity that he can use, and the adversity that he can just go with at his will. Oh my God, I'm getting too long with this topic. All right, now if you made it this far in the video, here's the point where you finna be like, ha, I told you so, Richwood. The controversy. Now let's all be fair, some players felt like there were too many tank battles. Some boss fights like Deathstroke became a vehicle simulator, or encounters instead of hand-to-hand combat, which is true. When you think of Deathstroke, he's not some tank wielding fighter. He's one of the best hand-to-hand combat experts in the universe. So it makes sense that I don't know why they put him in a tank. I can agree with this because it's Deathstroke. And the second point is the criticism was valid, but from a narrative standpoint, the Batmobile, it kind of makes sense. Don't butcher me in the comments. Oh my God. The game is about street level crime. It's about military occupation, and you can't deal with that with tanks and you can't deal with tanks with batarangs, if y'all see what I'm saying. It was from a narrative standpoint. Y'all gotta hear me out. But I do agree the criticism to why it was a tank simulator, or tank. I don't know. I'm getting kind of off with this subject too. All right, now that I got that out the way, let's go on to my final and last point, bro. Batman, the Dark Knight, he would have lost without it. Let's all be honest. Without the Batmobile, the militia controls the streets perma, the drones overfly the skies for Batman, the underground bombs remain active without Batman dealing with them because he couldn't disable them by hand. He said it was a trigger explosive, etc. if you play the game. Watchtowers are everywhere, and Gotham, it just remains under conveyance and under 24-hour protection of the Arkham Knight. I wouldn't say protection, but in control of the Arkham Knight. Batman would have been forced into purely stealth tactics, slower hacking, slower everything, and less effective. The Batmobile gave him speed, firepower, adaptability, and dominance, and it allowed him to fight with an equal fleet that kind of did it without killing. I was gonna say something crazy, but I had to retract my thoughts. And bro, I remember seeing when I was watching these videos on YouTube, there were so many people wanting the Batmobile in general, and I'm glad that they teased it in Origins because they started to listen to the community and what they wanted. So I mean, we were on foot for 3 straight games, 4 straight games if you want to include Shadow, but that's not technically straight because we had Arkham Knight before that. But y'all get what I'm saying, bro. It was something different, and I appreciated Rocksteady for that, and I appreciated how they dealt with it. Now I want to end this with a final thought. Let me know in the comments how y'all feel about this. But the Batmobile, it wasn't just a car. It was a strategic necessary. It matched the scale of the threat. It reinforced a new tone of war. It expanded the city. It protected Batman, which is very, very important because without no Batman, there's no Gotham and there's just chaos everywhere. And it dismantled an army. And most importantly, it showed that Batman just doesn't react. He prepares, and preparation is why he wins. Now, let me know in the comments how y'all feel about this. This video took me a little long to make because, as y'all know, I kind of hate reading off a script, but like sometimes I forget like what to say, and then I'm sorry for like the constant stuttering because like half of it, like I said, was off the top of my head and half of it was from a script. But I'm gonna catch y'all in the next video. Peace.